Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to Open Mic. Open Mic with yours truly, your comrade in arms, Chris Ano, coming to you as usual from the great state of Texas, precisely Houston, Texas. It's always a pleasure to come to you with updates on the Ambazonian struggle for independence actualization. Thank you for tuning in tonight. This is going to be very, very exciting as I come to you with an important announcement concerning the lockdown that we have planned towards La République du Cameroon so-called 20th May celebrations. This announcement goes specifically for those of you watching from ground zero. So please, if you are joining by way of Facebook, do me the favor as this broadcast was not planned. Hit your share button. Let us quickly populate the platform. If you are watching by way of YouTube, please do the same. Do the same. Let us quickly populate the platform. Tonight, I will be talking about, of course, bringing you the announcement about the lockdown that we have announced beginning on May the 19th through the 20th against and enforced so-called 20th May celebrations that La République du Cameroon plans to carry out on our territory. I will also be talking about a letter of surrender that was sent out a few days ago by Capo Daniel. I don't like to talk about him because to me he doesn't exist. But since not everybody, especially on ground zero, has the same level of information and education, it is important to say a word about that. I will also be talking about the reject of the SDF, in Bia's own fief, in Paul Bia's own fief. Also, I saw a statement that was issued by the moderator of the Presbyterian Church, they say, in Cameroon. I think it's high time they change that appellation, Presbyterian Church in Cameroon. Call it Presbyterian Church in the Southern Cameroons or Presbyterian Church in Ambazonia. But I read a statement, a lengthy, elaborate statement coming from the moderator of the Presbyterian Church calling for Christians to go out, register massively and vote. I'm going to be making a statement about that through these broadcasts. And of course, there's something very important about the myth about reunification. The myth about reunification is a subject that we discussed extensively last Monday. Something very important that I left out that I thought to come back today to make some sense, do some addition to it. So that is what I come to you with today, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have just joined, do me the favor, hit that share button. And of course, this is open mic. You can call anytime in the course of this show to ask a question or to make a contribution. That is why we call it open mic. So please again do me the favor, hit your share button. Let us quickly populate the platform. And God bless you for tuning in.
C'est la honte qui te prend. Quelle honte? La honte. La honte de quoi? Docteur. Non, c'est la honte qui te prend. Quelle honte? La honte. La honte
All right, ladies and gentlemen. You were watching at images emerging, we understand, from south of Yaoundé or south of La République du Cameroon. That is actually Paul Biya's own fief. Paul Biya's CPDM's fief in I think Mbamayo, Bolowa, I mean towards that area. But that is not an important thing. Where it is not an important thing. What you see there is not an important thing. The important thing is that in the advent of so-called presidential elections in that country, La République du Cameroon wants people to believe that if they should just go out, register and vote, and even the clergy, as I've mentioned, wants the populace to believe that if they should just go out, register en masse and vote, everything will be fine. The country will get back to normalcy and business as usual will go on. Now you look at what is happening there in the south of La République du Cameroon, where the SDF is being blocked from entering the town or the village to go out to campaign, and not just to campaign, but to ask its members at least to go out to register to vote. But the road is blocked against them and they are not able to have access into that town. Again, that is taking place in the southern region of La République du Cameroon, Paul Biya's own backyard. And so you hear them chanting Joshua. I think they are saying Joshua, referring to the chairman of the Social Democratic Front, the man you find on your screen, Joshua Osi. You are chanting and asking him to go back home. Wherever is home to him, I don't know. But that is the chant in that singing there. Again, yet they want everybody, and I'm speaking to the people on ground zero. They want you to believe if you should just go out, register and vote, the problems will be solved. The government, the elected government, will resolve the problems in the country. And yet, they cannot even as much as allow other political parties to go out and enforce that voting registration, no to even campaign. And they want you to believe after this election, everything will be okay. Let's vote the right leader, and Joshua Osi will be out there telling people, you know what, if I should win this election, things will be over. In fact, they are out there telling people in Bamenda, just vote for us, just go register and vote. If you don't register and vote, we are done, it is over. It was over since. It was over a long time ago. That is what they are failing to tell people, that it was over a long time ago. It was over since 1992 when they refused to give Frundi the victory that he won in the 1992 elections. Every other thing else is a sham. Now, talk less of between 2016 and today. We call it off. Ambazonians, Southern Cameroonians, whatever you like to call it, we have since been done with anything La République du Cameroon. And so it's a shame that these people would never learn a lesson. People like Joshua Osi, they will never learn a lesson. I don't care about the Kamtos who are out there. You know, some Kamto people are reaching out to us and saying, listen. Just tell your people to go out and register for these elections, register for this vote. when we win, we will make sure that we resolve the Anglophone problem, as they call it. That is what the Kanto people are sending out emissaries to come and tell us. We'll make it very, very clear to them. We no longer have anything to do with elections in La République du Cameroon. When we declared the restoration of our country back in 2017, we meant business. We meant business. By the way, Kamto, no, he cannot win. And even if he wins, what makes him different from Ahijo? What makes him different from Paul Biya? They will not do anything. They will not sign off Ambazonia. Never, ever. And so this is very important that we realize that, especially if you are on ground zero, you realize that no matter how much amount of voting registration that you go out and do, your vote doesn't count in that country. Your vote doesn't matter in that country. Only the vote of the elite, or the say of the elite. That is the only voice and the only vote that matters in that country. And when people like Ossi, the Kamtos, the Libris, and so on and so forth, they continue to go out year after year and tell people, this is the year, and they never win any election, and they keep on repeating the same thing over and over and over again. I call them naive and not knowing what they are doing. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do you imagine? I was reading yesterday. I don't know how far that is true, but I was reading yesterday. I was listening to an audio message yesterday announcing that Paul Biya has now announced his candidature for the election. That is the man who said, these are my last, just give me 7 more years and I will be done for good. That was what Paul Biya said in the last election. He said, just give me seven more years and I will be done. I will hand over to the youth, as you would like to call it. And he will hand over to the youth. But I was hearing yesterday that he had just now registered to participate, to still have his candidacy in this so-called sham La République du Cameroon's presidential election. Let me tell you, the youth in that country and the army in that country, you have no future if you cannot overthrow that government and do exactly what the Malians did, what happened in Burkina Faso, what happened in Mali, Guinea, and so on. You have to take it by your hands. The army in Cameroon can save their people. The Cameroon army can save you people in La République du Cameroon. That is the only antidote you got. Because if Paul Biya is once more inserting his candidature for this election, then the man is prepared to die there. And when he dies there, guess what happens? He hands over smoothly, in a smooth transition, to Frank Biya. That is what is going to happen. And so if I were back in that country, if I were a citizen of that country, I will be fighting for a military takeover. A military takeover of La République du Cameroon. It doesn't matter what kind of military takeover, bloody or bloodless, a coup is a coup. And I really hope that the military in Cameroon listens to the sound of my voice. Somebody and his family cannot own close to 30 million people. And for how many years? Paul Biya is going into the 42nd year of leadership, forgetting the so many years, 20-something years, I guess, he was prime minister of that country. So, since independence, only 2 people have ruled Cameroon, Ahijo and Paul Biya, and then from Ahijo to Paul Biya. I hope you understand what I mean. Paul Biya was prime minister under Ahijo. Ahijo handed over to him at on his departure. Now Biya has been there for going to 42 years. 42 years. A country since independence has known only two leaders. What a shame. What a disgrace. I really hope that the military in Cameroon, their eyes are getting open with what went on in Burkina Faso, Mali, Central Africa, Gabon, and Gabon and Guinea. I hope they are learning a lesson from there. It is time for that regime to go back. For Ambazonia, that has very little to do with us. The only thing we hope in a transition in La Republic to Cameroon, military or civilian, is that whoever takes over in that country will be will be good enough to sit down, discuss with Ambazonia about an amicable, peaceful separation for good. That's what we're looking up to. But if politicians like Joshua Osei and the Camptos and the rest, if they were serious, knowing that they have no chance of winning a presidential election in that country, knowing that they have no chance, not the least, not a smidgen of it, to win an election in that country, if they were serious politicians who are not just hungry people, their stomachs are hungry for contracts, hungry for bribes, campaign financing. If they were not hungry politicians, they will all down tools and tell their militants, we have tried this again and again and again and again. I mean, consider this, ladies and gentlemen, consider this. The opposition alone, they come together to put on a unique candidate. And Paul Atanganji comes from the Ministry of Territorial Disadministration and says, it is illegal for you, for this thing that you guys are calling a unique candidate or a coalition is illegal. Can you imagine that? Is a unique candidate or coalition candidate a new thing in politics? I guess it's new to Paul Atanganji. And Paul Atanganji comes and says it is illegal. And if they should continue meeting, they will be arrested and locked up. For political parties, opposition parties to come together, unite themselves and put together a unique candidate. And Paul Atanganji, representing the CPDM, comes from behind and says, oh no, this is illegal. We don't want to see it. We don't want to see it. It is illegal. And in spite of that, I mean, despite that pronouncement, these guys, they go on saying they are calling for people to go out, register and vote. If I were a politician in that country and there is no option, the only option would be let every opposition leader down tools and refuse to participate in any election, because since 1990, when the so-called democracy emerged, how many opposition parties in that country have won elections? The SDF did not. All of them, none, zero, has won an election in that country. And so I think with all the problems confronting that country, including that of dictatorship, if these politicians were smart enough, they will all down tools and say, you know what? Until you make the playing field level, we are not going to participate in any election we know we cannot win. That will be the order of the day for politicians who are smart. But no, these guys are so hungry. They just keep doing this election thing year in, year out. This year it is presidential election. Maybe next year it will be council elections. The next year it may be a parliamentary election, and they have no single mayor that represents their party. They don't win anything, and they just keep on doing it. Ambazonians, if you're listening to me, let me assure you, we have nothing to do with political activities organized from La Republique du Cameroon, because you know they yield nothing. They yield nothing to you. We have seen it in and out. They have not changed anything. Elections in La République du Cameroon, for all the time we've been with them, did not change anything in our country, because every time they conducted their elections, they came among us and handpicked those who go there and sing their praises, and they brought nothing back home. And they brought nothing back home. And I really hope that Ground Zero listens to me. We have a plan. We have a plan against that election as far as Ambazonia is concerned. We're not talking about it now because we don't even know when the elections are coming up, but the time is coming. All we can say is do not be intimidated to go out to register for any elections not in Ambazonia, because if you go out and register for their elections, you know that no elections are taking place in Ambazonia, but they will use their registry. They will use the register to present and say, all the people who registered in Ambazonia, they voted 99.99%. You know how they work, right? All the people who registered to vote in Ambazonia, the turnout was 99.99%, which is why nobody in Ambazonia should go out to register for any elections in Ambazonia. And as we have said before, listen to me. That election is an affront to all of us. That election thing is an affront to all of us. Every elecam office, you find any elecam office in your neck of the wood, in your backyard, bring it down. Listen to me. You can go out and write a report. Bring it down by fire or by whatever means that you can. Bring down any elecam office in Ambazonia. And ladies and gentlemen, you find any so-called elecam officials anywhere in your backyard, in your community, in your local government or county, treat them as enemies of our struggle. Again, treat any elecam official, any elecam infrastructure that you find in Ambazonia as the enemies to our aspirations for a free and independent people called Ambazonia. We have to do everything. We're gonna do everything to make sure that fallacy called election doesn't take place in our territory. For how long have you been voting? How long have you been voting? You still have no roads, no water, no electricity, nothing, no employment. Nothing has changed. The rich remain richer and the poor remain poorer. How many times would you have to vote before you think you can find change? So that is why we are saying there is no way that can take place in Ambazonia. It must never take place in Ambazonia, ladies and gentlemen. It must not take place in Ambazonia. And so any elecam official you find in Ambazonia is an enemy, should be taken down. Arrest him or arrest her. It's an infringement on our territorial integrity. Take my word. It is an infringement to or on our territorial integrity. And so you find any elecam office, elecam personnel in Ambazonia, get rid of them by whatever means you can. September 2017, we declared the restoration of the state of the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. We meant business when we declared that. We meant business with that declaration. Sisiko made that declaration. We all accepted it. You all showed up in your numbers from all the 13 counties of Ambazonia. Remember, don't forget your history. You came out in your thousands with palm fronds, and you welcomed the idea of the restoration of our independence. 8 years today, we are still fighting to actualize it, which is why We have to resist any socio-political or economical activity, no, socio-political activity that is attempted on our territory by the colonial power, the occupier, La République du Cameroon. Not do that, then we send a wrong message. We tell them that we are not serious. We tell them we are trying to come back. We are not coming back anywhere, not after 8 years and not after 30,000 of hours having killed. If you have not lost any brother, any family member, or anything in this struggle, you don't understand what I am talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I am resolved on fighting this thing to the end, because I think I have gotten a smidgen of what sacrifice is all about. When you are involved in sacrifice, there is a certain distance that you go and you never want to retrieve. You never want to turn back. I think 30,000 people, some people have said, no, 30,000 people is too much, it's not a lie. Let me ask you a question. I believe you agree with me. You agree with me that on average, La République du Cameroon is killing at least 2 people in Ambazonia. On average, on a daily basis, La République du Cameroon is killing at least 2 people in Ambazonia every day. Multiply that number and tell me what 8 years of killings will give you. Tell me the number. So the idea that some people say, oh no, 30,000 is not correct, is not true, is exaggerated, that is a lie. It's not correct. If you just add up those numbers, you will agree with me that they have killed more than 30,000 of ours. Ignore all these human rights reports with, 3,000. The last one I saw was 6,000. It's a lie. It's a lie. You know, there have been days that La République du Cameroon killed at least 20 or 10 or 15 of our people, including our fighters. So the idea that they haven't killed that much, that is not true. Just calculate it. 2 people each day by 8 years. Give me the figure. So that is a sacrifice. That is a sacrifice we've paid, and we are at a moment. We are at a point. There is no way we can say that let's look back and give La République du Cameroon the impression we are trying to come back. We're not coming back anywhere. Never. Zero. We're not coming back anywhere. And I am so glad with the resolve of most of you from Ground Zero, because I received your messages. I received many. I have, ladies and gentlemen, I have over 2,000 contacts in my phone. Over 2,000 contacts in my phone. And when 50 people send you messages and they are all in tandem with each other, they all align with each other, saying the same thing, saying, thank you, Comrade Chris, we must not give up. Thank you, Comrade Chris, we must not give up. We must never give up. That is the voice of the majority. That is the voice of the majority. So the good thing is our people are smart, intelligent enough to know that we've paid such a big price to think about retrieving today. So, ladies and gentlemen, the idea of La République du Cameroon's election is a sham. It is a sham. We were told in the 1990s that now there is democracy. There is democracy. Anybody can contest and go to parliament or become president. We tried. Some of us drank tear gas at the Commercial Avenue City Chemist in Bamenda to launch the SDF. Now, when the SDF finally won the election, did they get it? Not even parliament. They didn't even get majority in parliament. Neither did they win the presidentials. Of course, we know they win, but they hijacked it from them twice. Twice that happened. So, if you think you're gonna vote today, and the change will come, you're fooling yourself. and they will keep fooling you all the time. Let us be resolved to fight and fight and fight till we get our autonomy, we get our independence actualized. Those are the only grounds upon which you want a just system where your vote matters, where your rights count. That is the only thing enduring that we should persevere fighting for. That's what we should persevere fighting for. So please ignore all these so-called Anglophone politicians talking about the Joshua Osies, and I see there's another one. Is it John Echo or something like that? I don't know whether that is a name. Many of them out there telling us. I see they're sending messages around. They are asking people to go and register. Don't register for anything. In fact, if you register to participate in La République du Cameroon's elections in Ambazonia, you become an accomplice. Yeah. You become an accomplice. So please stay away. Stay away. And report any Elecam office, any Elecam official that you find in Ambazonian soil. They are criminals. They need to be taken out. And I mean that. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be away in the show. I will be right back in a few minutes. So please, I have not even started. Don't touch your remote. Keep on hitting the share button because I will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, still in the area of elections, still on the subject of elections. I received a statement from the moderator of the Presbyterian Church yesterday, talking about Reverend Reverend Samuel Funky, talking about encouraging Christians of the Presbyterian denomination to go out, register en masse to participate in the
we can now
elections that
announce
we are
to
talking
you
about here
that we have started the project. This new Synod Office project will carry the growing size of our operations, increase our credit worthiness, and reflect the intention of our vision and mission.
Church on this,
dear Presbyterians,
the Catholic Church,
silver and gold we do not have to give you, but our prayers for you will remain your immeasurable portion of blessings. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lays down his or her life for the leaders of his or her church and for the progress of his or her church.
And this
may
time,
the good Lord replenish your resources 100-fold, so that you will be able to sponsor this project until its completion. The COVID-19 pandemic came to reiterate the fact that we are vulnerable as mortals, and also that only God can guarantee this life and human existence. As Christians, let us give God thanks in all circumstances, because we know that whatever God permits, He has a reason for doing so. Some have died, many are living in fear, others are affected socially and economically. As a church, we have not lost faith or hope. During the intense period of COVID-19, our home worship services achieved much for our members. Lay ministries emerged, and family devotions were strengthened. There is every reason to deepen house fellowships and lay ministries in the church. Who knows when another crisis will emerge, wherein the ordained ministry shall be incapacitated. Only God knows what this pandemic has done to our faith. The times have become so unpredictable that we now see ourselves increasingly just living each day at a time. This calls us to be alert, vigilant, and faithful to our God, to be more dependent on Him as individuals and as a community of faith. The secret of Christian life is to be watchful and ready at all times. The word of the Lord says, be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong. Furthermore, watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. This is not the time for us to surrender to the weaknesses of our flesh, but to invoke and stand on God's strength. We must all keep watching against the plans of the evil one as we keep worshipping our Creator and Sustainer. Our current mandate is pegged on the leitmotif, wake up, watch out. Thus the theme for this celebration. On a spiritual and pastoral note, we will deepen our spiritual zeal and pastoral care. Emphasis shall be laid on e-worship, e-evangelism, and e-fellowship. Today, we should be able to get the gospel to people who do not attend church services. We are calling on all urban congregations to set up communication structures and digital equipment to ease the communication of the gospel. We appreciate the PCC Online Daily Devotional, the PCC TV channel on YouTube, daily meditations from our pastors, my PCC applications containing the church hymnary, and the daily Bible readings and diary. The details of our vision were articulated during our stakeholders training workshop. I bring to you an excerpt of it. Economically and socially, we shall continue with our investment policy towards self-sufficiency. The financial secretary of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon has stated this in the corporate resource empowerment plan. Remember our watchword, SLEM, spend less, evangelize more, and other economic policies like one congregation, one farm, from self-reliance to self-sufficiency, from minimal to optimal exploitation of resources. It is in this light that the Presbyterian Church Congregation of Bonamusa de Douala is constructing a secondary school under something like a public-private partnership scheme. PC Bastos Yaounde has invested in real estate at the young neighborhood. PC as the Bamenda has invested in shopping stores around their church compound. We would have been happier to hear that the Kome and Akwaya Presbytery now own sizable cocoa and bush mango farms respectively. This is how we should be thinking as a church.
And register now.
This year's celebration
listen to the sound
of World Day
voice.
of Peace
If you are
was
listening
unique.
to me or watching,
It was
listen, you'll find
meant
any
to revive
election
our
office
pursuit for
anywhere
peace
in
the ongoing
Ambazonia,
crisis in the
bring
northwest
it
and
down.
southwest regions
Use
of
your
our
own
country.
private
We thank
initiative.
God
You don't
for
need
the
to
mammoth
involve
turnout
a crowd.
and for the
Bring it
clarity
down.
of our message
Bulldoze
for
it,
peace.
smoke it
The
out, and
Presbyterian Church in
smoke out
Cameroon
any
has done
election
all that
official, and
is
even if that
required
election
to
official
bring about
is a member
justice,
of your church,
peace,
smoke
love,
them out. We
reconciliation,
are not out for
forgiveness,
hypocrites
reason,
who come
and sanity
out
to
meet
end the
people,
senseless war
say
of
different
attrition
things, go to
no
the
avail.
public, say something else.
If our hands could reach
He
the
writes,
top button
do the right thing.
to press
Reverend
and
Funky,
justly
sir,
end
I
this
like
war,
you to know
we
the
would have
right
long
thing to
done
do
so as a
is
church.
to stay
Our
away
role is
from
more of
anything that
advocacy,
Republic do Cameroon,
praying and
because
soliciting
we have
for
not
peace and
invited
justice.
them, sir.
And we have reached
We are
out
not
to every major
Cameroonians, sir. If
stakeholder
you are
in
Cameroonian,
this armed
if you are a
conflict,
missionary in
nationally
Ambazonia,
and
you
internationally.
have the right to
The
go
church
over to
can't
the
do
Republic
more
of Cameroon to
than she is able
campaign
to
for
do.
your
But we will not relent
for the members of your
despite
church
the abuses and
to
threats
register and vote.
directed to
But
us
when you
as a
set
church.
foot on
We
Ambazonia,
will continue to
please
intensify
don't
our
talk about
humanitarian
registering to
activities
vote
and
or voting
visits
for
to
any
the
Republic
refugees
of Cameroon's
and
election.
internally displaced more often during and after the COVID-19
One
pandemic.
of the penalties, now listen to
One
what he writes.
unshakable truth is
Plato
that
reminds us
those
that
who do
one
not
of
value
the
human
penalties
life
for
and protect
refusing to
it as
participate in
sacred,
politics is
but
that you
destroying
end up
it
being governed
are
by
either
your
murderers
inferiors.
or oppressors
They have
of God's
always
children.
been governed
Such
by
can never
their
be supported
inferiors.
by the church
Sir,
and her leaders.
where have you
The
been
church
for
is
all these
apolitical.
years? The people
She
have
is
always been
the eyes,
governed by their
mouth,
inferiors
soul,
because they were never
mind,
elected.
heart,
They
and
are
hands
always
of God
chosen.
in every nation and place on
This
earth.
is what you should be telling your
By these
congregation.
uncompromised principles
That they have never
of the
had the
church,
opportunity
we
to
shall not take
elect their
sides
own
in
leaders.
this struggle.
Their leaders
We
are
will
picked,
stand
are
strong
picked for
against
them.
human rights
I think it was
violations.
only a few weeks
pursue
ago when I
peace
heard you
and
lamenting
stability,
how in
and
your own
protect
local
the
government
livelihoods
in
of
the
the
where,
oppressed.
Akwaya,
The church
nothing
listens
exists there,
and
yet you
follows
have
the voice and
parliamentarians,
counsel
you have
of our
senators
founder Jesus
who
the Christ.
elected themselves.
Therefore, no one
What have they done
will
for the
be
people
able to
of
influence
Akwaya?
us to act
Akwaya is
otherwise.
the most enclave
We
in all of
re-emphasize our
Ambazonia.
call
You
to our
come from
government
there.
to continue inclusive dialogue and bring this conflict to a just end. It is a responsibility.
And you're right.
Let us
again.
get into
Look
the
at
bushes
this man
and bring
doing
out our brothers
everything
and
to
conscientize
get
them
people to go
to
and
heed to
register in
peace
the foreign
that
election.
benefits
Someone
their own
has
people.
said wisely
We
that
call
if
on
you
the
don't
government
vote,
to speed up
others
the
will,
reconstruction
others
process
will, and
to
those
release
elected will make
more
decisions
prisoners
you are
in the
bound to
different
follow.
cells.
Again, what is
Meanwhile,
the difference?
congregations
Our
are
people
called
have
upon to
always
continue
followed
caring for the
decisions
internally
by
displaced person.
unelected people
Nothing
for
is too small
61
for
years
someone who is
since
hungry.
we joined
The
the
Apostle
Republic du
Paul
Cameroon.
exhorts
If you
us,
know of
let us
anything
not become
different,
weary in
let
doing
us
good.
know.
For at the proper
Let us
time,
know.
we will reap
And he
a
says,
harvest
go and get
if we do not
registered
give
into
up.
the electoral
Therefore,
register now.
as we
in
have
bold.
the
He
opportunity,
puts now
let us do
in
good
bold.
to all people,
Tell someone
especially
else.
those who
man
belong
is
to the
not-
family
this man is
of
a disappointment,
believers.
ladies and gentlemen.
Despite
This
the
man
difficulties
you
and
see on your
challenges
screen,
faced
he
by the
is
educational
a
sector of our
disappointment,
church,
a big
both the
disappointment and a
resilient,
disgrace,
devoted,
and he
and
should not be
sacrificial
standing
teachers
on any
and students of our schools
pulpit to
have
preach
given us
the
reason
gospel.
to smile
What I read
and
here
keep
is the
marching on
gospel
with
of the
hope
stomach,
by the
the
end of
gospel
course
of
excellent
position,
results
the gospel
at the
of
primary, secondary, and high school
grandstanding,
levels at the just
positioning.
ended 2019-2020
That is what it is. That is what he is
academic
saying.
year.
As
The
knowing
following
what I
six
know about
Presbyterian
him,
Education Authority
having
schools scored
met him
100%
recently,
at
he
the
should not be
ordinary
saying
level.
what he is saying here,
PCSS
writing what he is
Boya,
writing here.
PSS Bafut, PCSS Mfuyaunde, PCHS Limbe, and PHS
Ambazonians,
Mkambe.
again,
Meanwhile,
I don't know
the
how we
following
can say
four
this
schools
enough.
scored
Those
100%
elections,
at the advanced
they are
level.
not for
PCSS
Ambazonians.
Boya,
They are
PSS
not part of
Douala,
the Republic of
PCSS
Cameroon. And these are all the
and
things.
PHS
These are
Kumba.
all the things we
We give
get
God the
them
glory
to know we
for our
are not
exceptional
part
teachers
of them.
and congratulate them for a job well done.
Staying away
Dear
from the
teachers,
11 February.
you remain the model
Staying away from your
of our
20
church's
minutes.
workforce.
Staying
We
away
have not relented
from your elections.
and will never relent in our efforts
That
to give
is how
solace to our brethren.
we send the
teachers,
message to them.
sacrificing for our church
We are
and for
not
humanity
part
and
of them.
performing a noble
We
duty
are not part of
within
their country.
our educational sector.
We are citizens.
We had initiated
of
a
a different
payment plan
country.
and have paid
That is
more
the
than
way we let them
90%
know.
of the accrued
We are
salaries
not
of our
part of
teachers
ladies and
because
gentlemen.
of the armed conflict in the
Ground Zero
northwest and southwest regions, which forced them out of work.
Clearly. Ground Zero
the
get
advent
this
of the
message
coronavirus that abruptly caused
take it out. I hope Ground Zero gets this message very clearly and take it out. We hope that you stay away, ladies and gentlemen, from their election. All right. But again, I should add, ladies and gentlemen, I should add that if you are in any denomination, in any congregation that is preaching voters registration and elections, consider your pastor an enemy to the future of your children. That's what it is. Consider your pastor an enemy to the future of your children. All right. Oh, I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, I have to take that again. I really hope that you guys get this. I'm very sorry
of the special
that,
subventions to schools
was
by the government of our country.
The Reverend Funky there. I'm so sorry it was mixed. So all what I said about that, I suppose you did not hear it. But I was talking about a press statement. This press statement that Reverend Funky sent out to all his pastors, to all his churches, asking all the members of the Presbyterian Church to go out and register and be ready to vote. And he uses all form of scripture and the urgency in it to ask them to go out to register and vote for La République du Cameroon's elections. And ladies and gentlemen, I am saying that I am ashamed and appalled at this message coming from the Reverend Funky, whom I thought as a minister, in understanding the political implications of what he is doing on the fate of Ambazonia, would choose to remain neutral. Throughout this struggle, we've noted two people. The Archbishop in care of the Catholic Church and the moderator of the Presbyterian Church. They have always chosen sides, choosing to belong to the side of La République du Cameroon. When this struggle is concerned, they preach the gospel according to La République du Cameroon. We have seen it again and again and again and again. We've brought it to you over television. When people were killed in Bali, Reverend Funky refused to tell his presbyters, his congregation, that the people killed in the church in Bali were killed by La République du Cameroon's military. When 10 people were killed at Nacho Junction in Bamenda, Archbishop Care was there. But when it comes to the over 30,000 Ambazonians killed, Reverend Archbishop Care has not visited any of them. But when Francophones were killed, he was there. A few weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, we saw Archbishop K, like the moderator of the Presbyterian Church, asking people in the press conference to go out, register to vote. Make sure you register massively. That is what the leader of the Presbyterian Church and the Catholic Church, they are telling the masses on the ground. I do not know who they preach to, because if the same people they preach to are Ambazonians who are also going through the pain that every Ambazonian is going through, then they have no interest, they have no sympathies for their congregants. Not at all. They are just there serving their positions, maybe to receive a pay or whatever benefits they receive. Because I cannot understand that these two gentlemen, the Archbishop in Bamenda and the moderator of the Presbyterian Church, they know what their congregants have been through. Some have lost family members, some have lost homes, they have thousands of IDPs in their congregation, and yet they want them to believe if they should just go out, register and vote, everything will be fine. Again, let me read some points in this letter that he has written out so that you can hear. The moderator writes here, in times of hopelessness, in the face of gross injustice and false peace, insecurity, systemic poverty, restiveness in parts of our country, and a stalled democracy. Now, he calls it a stalled democracy, but he wants you to go out and vote for the same stalled democracy. Who are the candidates, sir? Who are the candidates? And in which country? In which country? These are people who do not want Ambazonians to believe that we declared the restoration of our independence in September 2017, because they want our people to continue to go over and vote in La République du Cameroon political activities. We reject that, and they should be ashamed of themselves. Now hear what he writes. In times of hopelessness and in the face of gross injustice and false peace, insecurity, systemic poverty, restiveness in parts of our country, he's right, and a stalled democracy, Jesus, he says, greets us with his heavenly peace and hope for a better future in him. Now, Funky right. Peace, I believe. Now, let me go down to the third paragraph here. In 2025, the Cameroonian electorate will be summoned to the polls. You are right, the Cameroonian electorate, not the Ambazonian electorate, sir. The Cameroonian electorate. He said they will be going to the polls in 2025 for municipal, parliamentary, and the presidential elections. This series of elections, he writes, are projected to be the most defining. Hear that. According to Reverend Funky, this series of elections are projected to be the most defining in the advancement of our democracy and our collective development. You are wrong, sir. You are very, very wrong. And having lived in that country to get to the position where you are, you should know better and be ashamed of the things you put here, because you know they are wrong. There is in the country where they have had only two leaders since independence. You want us to believe this is the most defining election throughout your democracy. Which democracy? Which democracy, sir? Let me continue reading. He writes, our prophetic obligations incline us without any secondary motive to join other religious leaders of our country to educate Christians of the stakes, challenges involved, and our Christian responsibilities to do the right thing, which is to register now and later vote conscientiously. That is what he writes there. To register now and then later, he writes, vote conscientiously. These are lackeys in our territory, accomplices in our territory. Now he continues, it is not enough to wish for change, he writes, without being the change itself. We have to go and carry out our civic responsibility by intentionally registering and voting meticulously. Again, I am reading from the words, the press release of the Reverend Funky, the moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Ambazonia. We are quite aware of a terrible voter apathy due to a social mistrust accruing from previous electoral processes, he writes. Sad enough, there may be some truth in those sentiments. Not some truth, sir. Not there may be some truth. They are truths. They are truths. In a country that has been led for 61 years or over 61 years by two people, and you are telling us there may only be some truth? All right. Now he continues, this could be a logical position reflecting one's personal conviction. A Christian must guard the sanctity of his own conscience. Some people, you see what this moderator is trying to do in this press statement is, he is trying to imbue fear. Fear. It's like he's preaching a sermon. When you receive a sermon, you expect conviction and act upon the conviction. And that is exactly what the Reverend Funky is trying to do here. Pushing fear. Fear. You owe it as a responsibility. as a child of God, as a follower of Jesus Christ, to go out and register and vote with your free conscience, sir, you are lying. Jesus Christ will not preach the same sermon you are preaching here, given the same circumstances that the same people you are preaching to find themselves. You should be remaining apolitical, sir. You should remain apolitical. Not sending out statements like this one when you go around the place telling people, oh, negotiations we have. Negotiations can help. You should remain apolitical if you want anybody. All of you, the clergy out there who are parading around with some false peace plan, you should remain apolitical if you want to be believed. Not sending out lengthy sermons like this one and trying to fool the people. It is sad that politicians fool the people and you, the clergy, also join them to fool the people. I don't know whether I should read more, but there is no need reading more here. We will get a statement out there for you to read, but it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace what we see from this clergy. Again, we have seen this from the Archbishop of the Catholic Church, Bishop K. We saw that from him. Now we see it from the moderator of the Presbyterian Church, and you will recall these are the two largest congregations in Ambazonia, the Presbyterian Church and the Catholic Church. I don't know why these guys do not ask themselves, why is it that the Baptists say nothing? I mean, look at it. These people are not compelled to say anything as clergies, ladies and gentlemen. They are not compelled to say anything. If they were compelled to say anything, why is it that you are not hearing a thing from the Baptist congregation or denomination, from the apostolic denomination, from the full gospel denomination, from the mosque, the imams, and so on? Why is it that you are not hearing anything from them but the duo of Archbishop Nkea and the Reverend Funky? Think about that. Why are others saying? That tells you these two, ladies and gentlemen, these two, the Reverend Funky and the Archbishop Nkea, they know something that we don't know. They got something we don't know. They are fighting for something that we are yet to know. And that thing is all about positioning. It is not about God or Christ. It is not about love to the congregation. It is about positioning themselves for whatever that we do not know. Because these guys, when you look at the positions of the Baptists, the apostolic, the full gospel, the imams, there is no reason this guy should come out and tell us, we have to do it, because if we don't do it, you know what is going to happen to us. Why only the two of you? Why only the two of you? Again, I want to say this. I really love to say this to all the members of the Catholic Church and the Presbyterian Church. You've lost families in this struggle. You've lost loved ones. Some of you property. Thousands of you are out there in Bamenda, in Boya, in Victoria, Kumba, as IDPs. And we have refugees in Douala, Yaoundé, all over the place. Listen. Any pastor who will stand in front of you at this point in history and cannot be honest and cannot tell you the right thing is not a true pastor. They are just fighting for their stomachs. Yeah, they're just fighting for their stomachs. For positioning. Everybody should ask the two pastors in care and the moderator. Why Why is there is always a Catholic church and a Presbyterian church going out to try to placate people to go out and act accordingly to the tune of La République du Cameroon? Why are others not doing the same? If you should remain quiet like the other denominations, what is going to happen? All you are doing is aiding and abetting what La République du Cameroon, the pogroms La République is carrying out in Ambazonia against your own church people. All right, I hope that the message is out there. I hope you got the message out there. Ground Zero, don't listen to these people. They are shameful. They are not worth standing before you and preaching that gospel. I'm telling you as somebody who has preached that gospel too. They have to be consistent with the times. They have to be consistent with the times. All right. I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen, in 1 second. And when I come back to you, I will be bringing you the press statement for the lockdown that we have called beginning May 20th. Stay put, please. Put in there, ladies and gentlemen. At this moment, I bring you the official announcement for the lockdown that we here at the interim government have declared for May the 19th and May the 20th. And this is a statement. I like to read completely. I like to read it completely before I do a little elaboration on it. Now the statement goes, 20th May lockdown of Ambazonia. In light of the restoration of Ambazonia's independence in September 2017 and reaffirming our sovereignty, in light of the interim government's prohibition of all socio-political activities initiated or orchestrated by La République du Cameroon within Ambazonian territory, and in light of La République du Cameroon's persistent evasion of negotiations to resolve the escalating conflict, now entering its 8th year, while shamelessly attempting to impose its political agenda on our land, we categorically reject any semblance of celebrations associated with the so-called 20th May orchestrated by a foreign country, that is La République du Cameroon. The interim government of Ambazonia, therefore, in unison with the Ambazonia restoration fighters and allied liberation movements, hereby declares a 2-day uncompromising lockdown of Ambazonia on Sunday, May the 19th, and Monday, our regular ghost town day, May the 20th. During this period, all establishments, and I mean all establishments, including businesses and transportation services, are strictly forbidden from operating Only essential medical facilities and personnel shall be permitted to function, and solely for emergencies. We urge every citizen of Ambazonia to stockpile essential supplies, referring to water, food, and medication in preparation for this lockdown. Remember, we Ambazonians shall either live as a free people or La République du Cameroon will know no peace. And that is the statement that we have put out there. Some of you may have read it already. And so I'd like to add that for those of you on ground zero who are mostly affected by this lockdown, we've been through this for almost 8 years now. And every time we have to declare a lockdown, we sit down to discuss and take all of you into consideration, because we know that most of you live on petty businesses. Most of you live on the little income you make either from your farm or from your shirts in the market. And so when we declare lockdowns, we do it because we have to do it. We don't do it for luxury purposes. We don't do it so that you feel pain. We do it because we've got to do it. We've got no choice but to do it. But what we also realize is that it should not be painful to you. It should not be excessive, as some have tried to do it in the past. I am glad that even before we came up with this, some other groups have already also announced May 19 to 20. There was no need to contradict what they put out there because we thought it is reasonable. The 19th and the 20th and the 20th are very reasonable. Every business resumes on Tuesday, May the 21st. 19 is a Sunday. Monday is supposed to be our regular ghost town day, which has been turned into a lockdown. You know the difference between a lockdown and a ghost town. And so we want to believe that everything in Ambazonia will be grounded. If you are an Okada rider, especially those of you, the Francophones in Nkwen and those Francophones in Kumba, who think that they can defy ghost towns and go out to do business as usual, well, I don't need to tell you anything. I think you have seen the consequences, especially those of you in Kumba. You saw what has happened in the past week. When we declare lockdown, we mean everything lockdown. We know that the colonial officials out there in Kumba and Bamenda, they're trying to do everything to get traders to go out and participate in some public events. The good thing is that the people in Kumba have resolved they will choose to obey the interim government than obey the colonial officials or officers in their city. And that has worked so far. They will keep trying, don't forget that. They will keep trying. They will keep trying to get you to obey their instructions, but I bet you they know they are failing. They know they are failing. Keep on doing what you can do. Liberty is not cheap. Independence is not cheap. I was listening to a documentary yesterday of John Garang, and one thing moved me the most. The narrator said, can you imagine? John Garang fought for 21 years. God power only to rule for 21 days. He fought for 21 years. God power only to rule, to stay in charge for 21 days. I want you guys to know out there, some of us are here not because we want to come on ground zero, become ministers and presidents, and because there is no guarantee that we will live to see tomorrow. There is absolutely no guarantee we will live. Anybody in the diaspora dreaming that you will go to ground zero and become a minister or president, listen, You don't have your life in your palms. You don't. You do not. And so if you want to inflict pain on people on the ground because you are trying, somebody said, you know, what matters in this thing is about who gets to Boya first. Who told you you will get to Boya in the first place? Who told you you will get there? There is no guarantee you will get there. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are on ground zero, I want you to know all what we do here, we do it for you and your children. Maybe for our own children too. I have no need to come to ground zero to come and live there. I don't have anything there. I have zero over there. So we are doing this so that maybe by God's grace, your children's children may have a better tomorrow. But we need to do it together. We need to do it together. So I urge all of you on ground zero from all the villages, towns, cities. Ambazonia will be locked down completely on May the 19th through May the 20th. That is the message. I will be right back. When I come back, please remember this is open mic. This is open mic. I'm sorry I couldn't take the calls that I saw coming in here, but this is open mic. You can go ahead and call, make a contribution as you like, or ask a question if you may. I'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put in there. Thanks for staying put in there. Now, this is very important. This is very, very important. I believe it was last Monday I came to you with this monologue titled The Myth of Reunification. The myth of reunification. And I made the argument that the idea, the fabrication that we keep hearing year upon year from La République du Cameroon, that we were once, La République du Cameroon and Ambazonia, all the southern Cameroons were one, the same people, the same country, is a fabrication that should be taken off our history. It's a distortion of our history. Yeah, it's a distortion of our history because Rio dos Cameros was discovered in Douala. And the Germans, the Portuguese who discovered it, the rest of La République du Cameroon fell under that territory where Rio dos Cameros was discovered. And then you come to our side, they discovered Ambas Bay. Now, many of you do not understand how we got the name Ambazonia. The name Ambazonia comes from the word or the name Ambas Bay. That is where Fongoji Dinka derived the name Ambazonia, if you don't know how we got to that name, because of Ambas Bay. The Portuguese also discovered Ambas Bay. And Ambas Bay, going forward, was referred to, became known as the Southern Cameroons or West Cameroon. So they called at the other end Rio dos Cameros. When the Germans, ladies and gentlemen, took over the whole of Ambas Bay and Rio dos Cameroon and the rest of that territory called Cameroon or La République du Cameroon, they call it Cameroon with K. They jointly administered it until the First World War when it was defeated, when the Germans were defeated at the First World War. And according to the Treaty of Versailles, Cameroon was then partitioned the section that was formerly called Ambas Bay went to the British trusteeship, while the other side, Rio dos Cameros, or La République du Cameroon, went over to the French. Nowadays, we are told that we used to be one country. Oh, reunification. We were reunified in 1961. That's what the elite and the Republic of Cameroon government want us to believe, that in 1961, now you will recall the so-called reunification monument in Boya. I think that thing should be pulled down. It's a distortion of our history. There is no word, there is nothing like reunification. There was no reunification in 1961. There was unification in 1961, not reunification. Reunification suggests that, you were one before. Now, if somebody wants to argue, for instance, that, German Cameroon, including Ambas Bay and Rio dos Cameroon, that became Cameroon, well, it was a single country. It was a single country. Now, they are forgetting this. That German Cameroon, now this is where I am going to, this is what I forgot. German Cameroon did not only consist of Ambas Bay and Rio dos Cameros. Absolutely not. German Cameroon included parts of Nigeria. It was still called German Cameroon. How many of you know that? German Cameroon contained parts of Chad, the country called Chad today, that went over to Chad. German Cameroon also contained parts of Central African Republic. Central African Republic. Nobody is teaching this history because they concocted lies to fool us, to want us to believe we were always a single country. It's a lie. German Cameroon also had parts of Gabon, ladies and gentlemen. Parts of Gabon were parts of German Cameroon with K. And how about the Republic of Congo? Part of it was also part of German Cameroon. So if they want us to believe that, we were part of their country, we've always been one, then they should also be calling for that part that went to Nigeria, German Cameroon that went to Nigeria to come back. They should be calling for a part that went to Chad to come back. They should be calling for a part that went to Central African Republic to come back. They should be calling for the part in Gabon, the part in the Congo to come back and call it reunification, and let us see. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this makes this clarifies a lot of things in your mind. When you hear the word reunification, know that it's a cook-up appellation that does not exist. What we know is unification. Unification took place 1961. For as long as reunification was concerned, if by virtue of the fact that Ambas Bay and Rio dos Cameros were ruled by the Germans, it means the same that, okay. Congo, German Congo, German Cameroon in Congo, German Cameroon in Gabon, German Cameroon in Chad, German Cameroon in Nigeria. It means this was all Cameroon, isn't it? Yet Cameroon does not lay claim to any part of those countries or those territories. They only lay claim to Ambazonia because they think we are fools. When we know our history, we know we are fighting the right fight. We know we are engaged in the right war. We know we are engaged in the right cause. What they are trying to do is to bury our history and assimilate us, erase our history, erase our map, and make us feel like we have always been part of them. I hope the lie is put to rest today. If Cameroon wants anybody to believe, we have always been from there, we have always been one from the day, even before the day, or even before the days of German Cameroon or during German Cameroon, then they should be laying the same claim on those other parts that are in Chad, in Gabon, in Congo, in the Central African Republic, which were all called J-Man Cameroon, ladies and gentlemen. They were all called J-Man Cameroon. I hope this makes a lot of sense to you. I'm going to redevelop that article and recirculate it. I know the audio is out there, but I will rewrite the article and make sure I include all of these and circulate it. Let us have it in our archives and use it for posterity. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before I go talking about any other thing, I will open the phone line. I will open the phone line. If you have a contribution, please go ahead. Call the phone line. Go ahead, call the phone line and make your contribution. Go ahead, make your contribution if you have a question or a contribution to make. Hello, my comrade. Good evening, sir. Please. Hello, my comrade. Good evening, sir. Please, when you hear these hypocrites, their pockets have been filled to the brim. The Bible teaches us not to do our prophets no harm. You are tempted by all this, their hypocrisy, to insult these men who claim to be men of God. Shame, shame on you so-called men of God. I think he is writing here in reference to the moderator of the Presbyterian Church and the clergy out there story. My comrade, don't worry. God will expose them if truly the gospel they preach is from the Almighty God. Comrade, when you talk about Inquen, it needs to be taught a lesson until then. All right. Thank you, sir. Again, the phone line is open, ladies and gentlemen. The phone line is open. You can go ahead and call. Some of you were trying to call earlier, but I couldn't pick your call. Go ahead and call. Okay. All right. Now, while I am waiting for your phone call, let me take you to another subject that I consider very trivial. Okay, let me get to this caller first. Hello. All right, sir, I think you have a bad connection. You can go ahead, call back. Your network doesn't appear to be good. You can call back. All right. Again, in the absence of any caller, let me take you to something that I would not really want to talk about because I really don't consider this guy a serious person in this struggle. I am referring to this gentleman. I'm referring to this gentleman called Ngong Kapo Daniel. I believe that is the way he is called. I am referring to him. And I am only doing this again because sometimes when people put out stuff and you don't go out to educate the ignorant about what they have put out, it is very possible the temptation is for some people to take it really seriously and then generalize it to appear as if everybody is following that direction. So you have there on your screen the image of Ngong Kapo Daniel, whom I really consider in this struggle to be an inconsequential, irrelevant, never for once, ladies and gentlemen, have I ever considered him a serious person, a serious activist, a serious comrade. I wouldn't even dare calling him a comrade. He doesn't qualify to be called a comrade. But unfortunately, this is the person that A. Gov C was sending to represent them everywhere I go into every meeting. Egg of C is represented by who? By Capo Daniel. This guy you find on your screen wearing the police uniform of La République du Cameroon. I met him in one conference in Cambodia, and the man was sent out of the conference. He was ejected. He was ejected from the conference because of his rude behavior. He stood up, walked to my seat, and said he wanted to beat me in there. That guy there. And I just sat there, looked at him, and the organizers of the conference asked him to leave. The man walked away. I just controlled my temper in there. I would have given him one solid slap, and they would have taken him from there to the hospital. But I guess the Holy Spirit held me down and said, hey, don't mess up your dignity with an inconsequential like him. So I didn't respond, but the organizers of the conference sent him packing. Now, we also had another meeting very recently where we were told that he was consulted for some, I don't want to go into it, I don't want to mention it, but he was consulted for some meeting that was to come up. And we made it very clear from this interim government, we are not going to dignify people like him who have nothing to do, who have no positive role to play in this struggle, by going to sit on the same table to discuss Ambazonia with him. Because, by the way, he has no following, he has no influence, he only has his mouth. So we told that organization, if you consult with him, you want to bring him to the table, trust us, this interim government will not sit on any table with this fellow who is a traitor among us. We made it very clear. Also, I think it was early last week, I think it was Divine Chamokon who invited me on his show to come and debate with Capo Daniel. Divine Chamokon invited me on his show to come debate with Capo Daniel. And I told Divine Chamokon, you inviting me with Capo Daniel, if Capo Daniel is on the set, I am not showing up for your show. I don't have to come and legitimize his illegalities in this struggle. We don't recognize him as a leader of Ambazonia. And I will not sit on the same set with him talking about Ambazonia, and I refuse to show up for that show. I told Divine Chamokong, if you want me on your show, invite me with Ayaba, invite me with any other leader, or invite me alone. I will come. But you invite me with this charlatan here, a hungry guy, the most hungry guy I believe in this struggle, I will not come to make him feel important. But I am saying this to say that everybody should ignore anything, not just the statement he put out a few days ago, but everybody should ignore everything and anything coming out of his lips. Capo Daniel doesn't have any organization. Anybody can form an organization. Does that mean you have a following? Of course not. That doesn't mean you have a following. He has no following. And I will say it here and say it there, say it today, say it tomorrow, until it gets into the ears of everybody. Please, I cannot take this call now. Hold on to your thought and call a few minutes later. But I made it very clear. To Divine Chamokong, I am not coming on your show to come and sit on the same set with Capo Daniel to make him feel legitimate in this struggle. I will not come. Because again, we have never acknowledged Capo Daniel as a leader in this struggle. Maybe Egg of C did. Maybe Egg of C did, because he was out there representing Egg of C everywhere. I don't know whether all the leaders in Egg of C don't have passports or what, because anywhere you went, you saw Capo Daniel, and the guy can barely speak a word in English. You look at the press statement he puts out there, from the first line to the last line, you find tautology everywhere in that statement. He can barely construct a sentence in English, and yet this is the diplomat. The diplomat turned La République du Cameroon's commissioner, DDR commissioner, that you find on your screen here. He is the one that the egg of sea was sending everywhere, parading everywhere, and I guess he took advantage of that, and now jumped out. He has not only tried to mess up to reveal their secrets, which he is still holding, but he now says he formed his own organization, calling it Human Rights something, something, something. And who are his followers? We don't know. Who are his executives? We don't know. I saw Mike Barretta making an apology a few days ago for accepting to attend a meeting with Capo Daniel. I don't know why people are in this struggle for 8 years and they cannot divide right from wrong. They cannot see evil from good to the extent that But why are people trying to appear relevant every time a small gathering here they go? A small gathering here they go. They call Canada, there they go. Where is Canada today? Where is Canada today? When we said Canada was no good, people thought, oh, we are being intransigent. We are being intransigent. We have now seen with the benefit of the hindsight. People know we took the right decision. It is not, we are not hungry to go sit into anything out there. For what reason? If it will not produce the rightful results, we don't have to go there. We don't have to go there. And so this idea that every Tom and Dick will come up, call a small meeting, some people will be running there, first Canada, second Canada, now the meeting with Capo Daniel, there are some Mark Barretta trying to rush over there and then coming back and apologizing. Come on. People should have some principles. You should have some principles and learn to decipher what you are engaging yourself to do. Yesterday was CDN. CDN is doing this. CDN is doing that. People were jumping there, trying to form blocks over there. Some of you so-called fighting for Ambazonia independent of war. You don't know what you are trying to do. You're just fighting for positions, fighting to be there, fighting to be on the table. If they ask you, what are you trying to achieve? You have no idea. You have no idea. Just jumping from one place to the other. What are your principles? To the extent that this charlatan will call you guys for a meeting, and you guys will jump over there. What does he have to offer? What does he have to offer? A man who cannot even write a press release. He's telling you he has some United Nations officials who are coming to, oh my goodness. But this is what I'm trying to say, Ambazonians. Ignore everything that comes from this guy, either from his mouth or from a piece of paper. Ignore it. He is not one of us. He has never been. He has always been a hungry man. He has always been a hungry man. Remember the last audio we listened of him negotiating 500 million francs that will go into the egg of sea and his pockets towards the conference in Canada. The Canadian so-called thing, as Bo Herbert puts it, the Canadian thing. We heard him over the phone negotiating 500 million. With officials in La République du Cameroon. Now he comes out tomorrow and say, oh, we just need to accept special status. We have seen that, he says, we have seen that confrontation will not solve the problem. Dialogue, we have figured out, he said, that dialogue will bring La République du Cameroon to the table. If the barrel of the gun has not smoked them out to sit on the table to discuss Ambazonia, you think that going to kneel down to plead to them will bring them to the table to discuss with who? With you? With you? And when you know that somebody has been bought over by La République du Cameroon, observe the behavior, the approach of La République du Cameroon's media towards that person. I'm sure you guys remember the Ngu Santos. You remember the other guy with beards. Remember the Padis Asanga and so on. You know, they were making the rounds over La République du Cameroon's media. I see posters advertising Capo Daniel showing up in La République du Cameroon's media. He has been born again. He has been born again, and so now he belongs. He belongs to the state media. Now they are fighting to grant him interviews. And you know what you will go there and say? You will go there and say, Ambazonia is a bad idea. Ambazonia is a bad idea. Talking about people who are involved in this thing, who want us to believe they are involved in this same struggle, but they have they have no principles. They have no convictions. These are not revolutionaries. These are not fighters. These are people who are hungry. They are hungry. But to put this, to summarize this, if you're listening to me from ground zero, please, anything coming from Capo Daniel, trash it. Trash it. And if you see him, trash him too. Just trash him and finish with him. I'll open the phone lines now, please. I don't have much more to say. I will be dignifying him if I should go further saying anything more about him. The phone lines are open. Go ahead and call. Go ahead and call. And okay, I think I have the first caller here. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello, sir. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Hawaii.
From Hawaii. Okay, wonderful. My first time to hear somebody calling from Hawaii. All right, what is on your mind, sir?
Oh, it's Lebi Alem, sir.
I'm sorry?
Lebi Alem.
Yes, what will Lebi Alem, sir?
Since I sent some guys to kill your brother Oliver Lekiaka, Red Dragons don't finish.
Oh, is that? Okay, thank you for the call. That means why a great warrior, isn't it? All right, please go ahead and call. Go ahead and call. That's a charlatan who has borrowed an Hawaii number. Okay. All right, the phone line. Let's get. Please get the phone line on the screen. Get the phone line on the screen, and if you can call for a contribution, go ahead. Go ahead and call. Okay, I see somebody writing here. Good evening, comrade. Have you guys brokered any ceasefire on ground zero that we hear local radio stations running their mouths about it? Now, this is what I'm talking about right now. Can you hear that? This is somebody writing from ground zero. Good evening, comrade. Have you guys brokered any ceasefire on ground zero that we hear local radio stations running their mouths about it? Absolutely not, sir. Absolutely not. We have not brokered any ceasefire on ground zero. When you hear that there is about to be a United Nations sponsored referendum and you hear a ceasefire, you can take it to the bank. Until then, you hear a ceasefire from people like this one on your screen. No, it's coming from hungry people. It's coming from hungry people. It's coming from hungry people, not from us. If the interim government should agree to any ceasefire, you will not hear it through rumors. We will write to you, we will communicate with you. I will come on television like this one and do an official announcement. So anything you hear on any La République du Cameroon's radio or television as a ceasefire or as a compromise or as a lay down of arms, take it with a pinch of salt, okay? Take it with the pinch of salt. All right. So, no, we are not. We have not. There is nothing like ceasefire. Instead, a powerful lockdown is coming up May 19 through May 20th. May 19 through May 20th. All right. I hope you get that message, and thank you for letting me know that. All right. The phone number is there on your screen. Go ahead and call. Go ahead and call. Go ahead and call and let me know what is on your mind. Let me know what is on your mind. The phone line is open. All right. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess in the absence of any other thing, in the absence of any phone call, I may have to call it a day. I guess you are very satisfied with it. Please, sir, we need to reinforce Ghost Town in Santa. Okay. All right. Please, sir, we need to reinforce Ghost Town in Santa. All right. I hear you, sir. I hear you. Yes, again, the phone line is open. The phone line is open. Go ahead and call. I hope you are able to watch from ground zero, because I should be getting a lot of calls from ground zero. I am waiting for your phone calls, ladies and gentlemen. Again, in the meantime, let me remind you again that the interim government, in collaboration with the restoration fighters, have concurred with other groups who agreed for a lockdown, so-called 20th May lockdown for May the 19th through May 20th. That means Ambazonia will be shut down. Ambazonia will be shut down against La République du Cameroon's imposed 20th May. Now, how many of you know that Cameroon, La République du Cameroon, celebrate their independence on 20th May? They have never done it on January 1st. They do it on 20th May. 20th May wasn't their Independence Day, you know that. Their Independence Day was January 1st. But they ignore that. They ignore that they call 20th May National Day. But for us, it is a day of slavery. It's a day they conquered us. And so we refuse. We refuse to celebrate the day we were conquered. That is why we take this very seriously, and we are not going to be celebrating it. If you have a family at home, tell them to stay at home. Tell them to remain at home on May the 19th and May the 20th. Let them shut their doors, stay at home. They should avoid stray bullets. They should avoid stray bullets on the 19th and the 20th. Thank God the 20th is already our regular ghost towns. We are watching here, sir. Okay, so Ground Zero is watching. Keep up, sir. We are behind you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that. All right. Again, I see so many people watching. I need your phone calls. If you don't have a phone call, I'm glad to call it a night. But when I do open mic, I do open mic so that I can take your calls, have a conversation with you. That is why I call it open mic, so we can have a conversation over the state of the struggle. So go ahead and call. I will take a brief moment out. I will take a brief moment out and come back and continue with your phone calls. So stay tuned. All right, comrades. I want to believe that no calls are coming in, and in the absence of any call, I will call it a night, and hoping to be back here possibly on Friday. But let the news spread, please. Let the news spread that May the 19th and the 20th having declared national lockdown days in all of Ambazonia. And also very important, Elekam has no place in Ambazonia. And Elekam officials are accomplices. They are on the side of La République du Cameroon in this conflict. They should be avoided. You find them anywhere, kick them out of Ambazonia. You find Elekam signs anywhere, bring them down and burn them. It is what they are trying to do is called trespassing onto our territory. La République du Cameroon has all the right to organize elections in their territory. We are no longer part of their territory since September 2017, and so anything they do in our territory is considered an infringement. So that is why we are passing these injunctions. Do it on your own. You don't need the ARF to come around and do that. You can do that at your convenience. Smoke them out. Thank you for staying in. I'll be right back on Wednesday. God bless you all.